Now, I've been involved in some processes that are the product are higher risk, where we're not allowed to wear perfumes or cologne, okay, because it transfer when the lab actually tests it, or our organoleptic team will, or our sensory team will smell the product and says, why does this smell like cologne, right? Here we go again. Hello again, PCQI, and welcome back to our All About Compliance channel in our GMP training segment for food category, section personnel, subsection cleanliness, subsection other precautions. So let's do this. Okay, PCQI, we are still working on our 21 CFR Part 117, CGMP HARPC for human food. We are on the current good manufacturing practice section under 117.10. This is our last requirements under section B. So let's do this, okay? Cleanliness. All persons working in direct contact with food, food contact surfaces, and food packaging materials must conform to hygienic practices while on duty to the extent necessary to protect against allergen cross-contact and against contamination of food. The methods for maintaining cleanliness include taking any other necessary precautions to protect against allergen cross-contact and against contamination of food, food contact surfaces, or food packaging materials with microorganisms or foreign substances, including perspiration, hair, cosmetics, tobacco, chemicals, and medicines applied to the skin. So let's kind of dissect this really quickly, PCQI. So let's kind of take a look at the perspiration section of the requirement, because it is included. So for perspiration, as a PCQI, let me take a look at my analysis and my facility. Number one is my facility climate control? So, is it an environment or a chilled enough environment to prevent perspiration? Obviously, when we perspire or sweat, right, it can drop into the food product, okay? And obviously, we don't want that. So first, we need to ask that. So then the activity temperature, right? Not the operating temperature. It's our activity at this point. Obviously, we move, we sweat, right? It's just a human, bodily function, for that. So what are my preventive controls for that? Am I going to issue headbands, for that, or are my break intervals? We'll take care of that cooling down because I'm in a different zone. And if I have headbands or sweat bands, right, depending on my process, obviously, what does that look like on, exchanging that, getting a fresh one. Obviously, if that thing is wet and soaking, I need to replace it. What does that look like? So implement some of these best practices that are out there on the field. You also need to look at preventive controls, right, and all of your processes with that. So that's kind of a big question mark there for you. We've seen different ways of controlling perspiration. Just contact us, once you start working with us on this one, we'll put all of these systems together for you. The next part of that is hair. And I know we had a video about hair restraint, so please go back and watch that video. And that covers your programs or your policy or procedure for hair and beard cover, long sleeves, right? Or maybe, your other sheet protectors and whatnot. Gloves, obviously, because we have, hair and skin contact with the food product. Also eyebrows and eyelashes, right? So those are always being asked, about this stuff. When you have glasses or safety glasses, why do you wear them? Number one is for the hair on the eyebrow and then your eyelashes. And then what about fake eyelashes, right? So, a lot of our teammates, that's part of the fashion. Is that allowed or not? If it is allowed, what is your preventive controls? For that, obviously, probably with the safety glasses, if you're allowing it, or you just simply say, I don't want to put up with all of that stuff. It's just not allowed. Okay, so what is your policy for that? Now, remember, this is precaution. Okay, so this requirement is a precaution that brings it to our attention to address these things. Okay, for cosmetics, right? Are they allowed? Right, so it's just a pride thing for somebody that wears cosmetic, that they want to, feel good, look good, right? So what is it? What is it for us as a PCQI when we see that? How much layer is allowed if you're allowing it, for that. Because sometimes we tend to go overboard. It's just human nature, right? Things happen, and now we have those over application. We got flaking and cracking. That will fall into the food that we're making. So what is our preventive controls for those? Are we allowing it or not? Okay. Next part of that is for tobacco, and like I said, we've covered this in other videos. People enjoy vaping now. Smokeless chewing tobacco is still a common practice. Obviously, smoking is there as well. I've seen practices where the product is that sensitive for these type of aromatic or whatever you wanna that smell, right? I don't know the proper word, so help me out, PCQI. That it actually transfers, because sometimes you go there's like, why does this smell like smoke, right? So is having them wash their face a requirement? Right? Was that even considered? Was that like, whoa, wait a minute, time out, really? Well, we don't know, right? So it all depends on how sensitive your product is, especially powdered products. I work a lot with a lot of some of the nutrition products, infant formula baby products and whatnot, where that is super, super sensitive. And we can share some of those with you. Okay. Then next segment for this one is for chemicals. So when you look at this section of the GMP, it's not just all about your chemical controls, your sanitizers and your other hazardous chemicals or other chemicals that you use. Now, these are chemicals on your body, right? As part of this section as a PCQI that we need to consider. Obviously, on personal hygiene, right? We tell the team, hey, you got to have some type of deodorant. Don't show up to work smelling funky, from the nightclub before, whatever, right? Whatever your lifestyle is, do take a shower and do all of these things. So now, to prove that they that they've done those activities, they tend to, put, branded deodorants, all of these things that smell good, or deodorant in general, What is that? Do you want odorless one, right? Like I said, it depends on your sensitivity of your product. So before you shoot me a ton of email, okay, PCQI, these are just some of the things that we bring up. Let's go back to the deodorant. So deodorant, right? It's just really the smell of that. Is it overpowering? Or do you just require it to be odorless? Okay. Like I said, this is about your process. So you might say that's an overkill. I think we're overstepping. It's your process. Okay, PCQI. Now, I've been involved in some processes that are the product are higher risk, where we're not allowed to wear perfumes or cologne, okay? Because it transfer when, the lab actually tests it, or our organoleptic team will, or our sensory team will, smell the product and says, why does this smell like cologne, right? Well, Arnell was wearing it the other day and it transferred there because he was working in that section, right? So the other part is also lotions, right? Obviously, we are trying to prevent flaky skins, and this, and all of those dandruff from whatnot, and dead skin falling into the food. So we're gonna want to use lotions. But where is that application? Is that exposed to the food and whatnot? So those are the type of things I look for under this requirement when they're talking about chemicals. So the other part of that is they also mention for medicine applied to skins. Okay. So obviously, depends on your process on this stuff, what you allow and what precautions that you have. So if somebody got a cut, obviously they're going to use some type of a cream or anointment, right? And let me just mention some of these things. So when you're putting your process or your procedure together or your policy, you have some example. Topical, right? Your topicals for analgesics. Or I might be mispronouncing these guys, okay? So forgive me there with our science world on the medical side. I'm just a PCQI, okay? Antibacterial and antifungal creams. This one is corticosteroids, ointments and cream, right? These are some of the common ones that are used. Antiviral, acne medications. And I know I butchered some of these, so forgive me, okay? Anti-inflammatory skin condition creams, right? Because now, you notice you're getting a rash. You could be allergic to some of the allergen there, or something happened that you have a skin condition. What is your protocol for you to go to work and things like that. Lastly, wound healing ointments, right? We got cut, so we're going to use that. So what does that look like? Are we going to be double gloving, and all of those aspects of, on our policies to cover these things, okay? So for foreign substances, I know that's the first thing they mentioned, and then this were a part of that system. So let's go back to our foreign substances. So what is our policy for foreign substances? So what does that mean for us? As part of our GMP, you can interpret this for maybe having a metal detector, right? That's a foreign substance, for that process. What about plastic, glass, right? These are foreign substances. Programs that you have, brittle plastic, right? So these, a lot of things are beginning to kind of, sink in, at this part of the requirement, and you're looking at that SOPs or protocols. But what I'd like to emphasize here is above the waist as well. What are those? Glasses, for example, are they putting them on their shirt? Do you have pockets in your outer garments that you issue them in this event? Let's just say lab coats, they're commonly used, right? What about your maintenance team? They put thermometers and put all of those other things that they wear. Maybe your QA, are those allowed? They're above the waist, that could fall into the food. Earrings, nose rings, right? Sometimes we have those little rings that are clipping our eyebrows, jewelry, right? Now it's going back to the jewelry video that we had made before. So, those are the type of things that you can look at this requirement and kind of add. Now, I've had a little bit of notes here, because when I'm doing a deep dive audit about these things, like, first aid kits, right? It's blood. It's a foreign substance, right? Somebody got cut. Now you have a bloodborne pathogen that's exposing the product for that somebody got a cut. Preventive controls. What are my first aid kit? Are they replenished? Okay. Am I using a metal detectable Band-Aids? Okay. And then what about, do I have a double gloving policy, when this happens, where, my teammate had a cut and all of these things, or, some part of the fingers and the hand, skin rashes and things like that, using ointments, right? So what are those precautions that you're doing? Now let me go back to the foreign substances, pens, right? Are we using a metal detectable pens? Okay, so I just wanted to squeeze that in there, as a consideration. Anyways, let me end the video there. PCQI, thank you for your viewership once again. If you see value in the content that we're producing for our food safety community, please share this to our fellow food safety professionals and PCQIs out on the field. And once again, thank you, super thank you for your time and viewership. Have a great day, stay strong, and we'll hit the next one. Bye for now. Contact us. And don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Thanks again, PCQIs. Have a good one.